Welcome to this morning on Asakhe podcast, your daily dose of insightful conversation on current affairs, politics, and social issues. Please share and also follow us on social media at SiteZW. Now, stay tuned to today's episode.
Very good morning to you. Happy New Week and welcome to this morning on Asakhe. My name is Nohlanhla Mapigwa and as usual, I'm here with Brighton. Good morning.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to the new week, man. Today on the show, we're looking at the issue of statistics coming from the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education around high alarming rates of school dropouts. Right, let me just go to the article. The alarming school dropouts due to pregnancy, right? So the countries last year recorded over 4,000 school dropouts due to pregnancy, with rural schools bearing the brunt of this crisis. According to the shocking stats coming from the government, 4,557 girls left school last year because of pregnancy. Of these, 3,942 were from rural schools, while 715 were from urban schools. A total number of 134 pregnant girls were still in primary school. Let me please go to Bosalani. Bosalani, as a woman, as a mother, how do you feel about this days that we are now being told by the minister?
As a mom, to be honest, I'm appalled. I'm horrified that we have a situation where children are having to experience pregnancy at such an early age. I mean, gosh, it's a lot for even a grown woman to, when you experience pregnancy, there's a lot of bodily changes, a lot of hormones. I mean, gosh, a whole human being is growing inside a baby. And that's really, really concerning. And I believe the ministry has to take this extremely serious. The minister has to take this extremely serious. And when you're talking about 4,000 plus girls that are having to drop out of school due to these type of issues, it's not right. I mean, gosh, even one child dropping out wouldn't be right. And there needs to be more resources towards assisting and supporting girls who've gone through this, who are going through this. And I feel the schools are not adequately supported in any sort of programs. Because I'll give you an example, Brighton and Nohlanhla. If you are, once you have a whole human being growing inside you, that means you need food. There are other symptoms or kind of ailments that follow you when you're pregnant. It could be high blood pressure. It could be others who are not fortunate can have other debilitating issues as well. And these are things that are not adequately being looked after. You have to talk about prenatal care. If you're at school, there will be bullying. Remember, pregnant girls or young mothers also experience stigma and discrimination from their families and their communities. And this inhibits, their confidence to continue with their education as well, placing the range of practical barriers in their way. And you have to also see the unequal power relationships between young men and our girls. But what do you do in a situation where it's two kids, same age, experimenting? Like Brighton, you mentioned the issue of social media phones, the things that they watch, the things that they see, the things that they hear. It could be anything really that causes this type of situation. And having said that, so that means that there is this whole unequal power relationship between the young boys and our girls there. The lack of skills, opportunity to negotiate safe sex and even sexual violence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bosalani, for that contribution.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. In some cases, children have experimented in their same age. And we also need to educate our boys to be responsible. Because without educating the boy or child, we are not doing anything. We as parents, we need to take a holistic approach. We as parents in the household, charity begins at home. We need to educate our children. We should not shy away from educating our children about sexual health issues. We don't have to shy away from educating our children from contraception. We need to up our game in educating our children, male and females, not only at family level, church, in society. Our children are being exposed to inappropriate things and they experiment without knowing the consequences. We have seen videos of children in boarding school experimenting in Zimbabwe. And let's not only assume that it's the Madalas, my sugar daddies doing that. They are doing it to themselves, Vana. And also, we need to be mindful that sometimes it's common to orphans, those who don't have, someone to look after them, and they end up being lured using material things to be slept with. So as society, we need to protect our girl child, and we also need to educate our boy child so that they also become guardian to their counterparts. I learned for now.
Well, thanks so much for that, Koko. But good morning to you, Namapasha. Welcome to the show.
Hello. When people say that the government should do something, I do not think it's the job of the government. I remember as a girl myself, I do not remember a single person as a girl child telling me, this is what might happen. One thing I was told when I sang Tombile, up to this day, that confused me because I was born, I had brothers. So it did not make sense to me. If someone says, you mean I should not sleep with my brothers? What does ulala mean? When we learn about puberty in class, the teacher we are just to cover syllabus. Half the time asizwile but asizwanga. But something oyitshelwa ngumzali okuhlalise phansi, it might stick more. Ukuthi lama ususiyaganga, you remember ukuthi you were once told. You'll be surprised ukuthi some of these girls, they will tell you that I didn't know. I thought if manga said the period and so many days I won't fall. Those myths that we tend to have. It's not easy, I know, being African, we're changing, but in the abantwana bazatwala. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Nama Pasha, for that contribution.
Good morning to you, Nkala.
Good morning, Brighton. This matter that we are talking about here is not a new matter. The government's duty is to just put legislation, which has been put. But this problem has been happening over years. If we check most of the children, maybe including even us, ourselves here, some of the kids here were born within that same period. So this is a matter of us approaching this matter differently. What are we doing?
Thanks so much, Kala. Achetu Moyo has been working with SRHR, working with young girls as well in terms of their program. I want to hear from you, Achetu, in terms of what you've been doing as an organization in terms of working towards maybe curbing these issues of girls dropping out of school.
Thank you so much, Brighton. Good morning to everyone. So, alluding to what the previous speaker said about legislation being there. So what happens mostly in rural areas is that like as CSOs or as organizations that offer comprehensive sexuality education, we are not really allowed to engage with children that are in uniform. We can only engage and talk about sex and, who's part and related stuff to young people that are out of school. But what happens most of the time is those young people that are out of school, they are now school dropouts because they got pregnant when they were still at school, which could mean that maybe the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education needs to relax some laws around maybe allowing organizations to engage with young people that are in school. The problem is when I'm now talking to that, whether that young person is 15 or 14, they are now out of school. They're no longer going to school. They are now a mother, or they have gone through those challenges maybe of being pregnant, Thank you.
Thank you so much, Achetu. Quite sad, Brighton, they get to hear the information when it's too late.
Good morning to you, Shumba Chikara.
Good morning. We should actually go back to the parents and start teaching them about all these things. If we start talking about the sexuality education today, and we give it to children only without discussing it with the parents, we are losing it out. Because these parents would have lost it during their time. If we go back to Erik Erikson, Stages of Development, who discovered that a lot of people from, especially from my country, because of things that we have faced and whatsoever, some of them, they are fixating along the way, simply because some stages they did not pass them very well, simply because of circumstances that were beyond their control. So what should we do? We should revert back, go back to the parents, because they are able to have children, but are they able to raise these children in a way that will make sure they pass through their stages successfully? So every child, if we look at them, even if they are developing breasts or whatsoever, it's important to understand that there is a time when you are supposed to teach a child, you can actually teach them, but if you want to teach them when they are now grade 5, they are not going to catch up with that. Never. So the thing is, when we are empowering these girls to make informed choices, we also have to make sure that parents are empowered to have this information and to know when to package it to the children. Because right now we are putting everything in one bag. You can't take a child who is 1 to 3 years and start to talk to them about sex and sexuality. They know nothing about it. But there's a stage when they now know. And the parent has to understand the puberty stage. They have to understand when to introduce some of this information. So the issue of packaging it together, it's a problem. Because you package all these things and put them to someone who is still in the playing stage. They are still playing and they are still experimenting with some things that are not even sex and sexuality, and you give them that information during that time. So I think the best way, even before we even put it to the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, those people are doing a lot for our children. But us as parents, what are we doing? Are we even having community meetings to say, guys, we have problems here in Govaland. Let's sit down together as parents. Let's understand what these children are doing. You'll be surprised that your child is known by a next door that she's going, and she's not even going to school. She's like, getting to her uniform and whatsoever. But driver wekombi arikutomolesta mwana yeye. We let vana vachipinda mushikashika, and they get molested by those guys vana winji, simply because arikupinda mushikashika every day. But you know that as a parent, what's your duty? Thank you so much.
Well, thanks so much, Shumba. Quite interesting what you're raising there. And we've come to the end of our Monday edition of This Morning on Asakhe.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. For feedback, you can contact us on 263-777-470017. Don't forget to follow and like our social media pages.